Hey sis, thanks for joining. How are you? Mwah. We have to catch up. I miss you. All right. Well, welcome to Sunday Soup. I hope everyone is having a blessed and prosperous Sunday. Greetings. Um, I am Phoenix Love of a Healer's Haven. I work with purpose-driven leaders to provide holistic healing solutions to help you achieve your wellness goals and work-life balance so that you can live on purpose. Thank you for joining this evening. I am so excited about today. Today is 11/11/11, and we don't get to see those numbers in alignment like that not too often. So, and this has been some month because November is filled with that type of number synchronization or alignment of numbers all throughout the month. So the month of November is especially powerful, and I don't know about you, but I've been feeling the power and the energy, and it's just been amazing. So I wanted to talk about tonight work relationships. Like I said, I think I mentioned last week in the Sunday Soup that I am going to be really drilling down and going into love, relationships, family for the next 2 months through the end of the year. Why? Because most of our stress, most of our emotional ups and downs are directly related to our relationships. That's both our personal relationships as well as our professional relationships. So tonight, I want to really touch on the professional relationship, whether it's if we're entrepreneurs, our business relationships, or if we're in the workplace, our work relationships. Because a lot of times when we are going to work, think about it. When we are at work, we are spending 8+ hours in the workplace. That's a lot of time. And some of us, depending on what our title is, what our role is, we can spend anywhere 10 hours, 12 hours. Some of us, it really depends. And then, of course, you have your commute, which can also be stressful and all of that. So these are things that, of course, impacts and directly impacts how we feel, our mood, our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health. So that's why I thought it was important to really touch on this topic tonight. And I may or may not, depending on if she can join us, have someone that's going to come on and share a little bit about her experience with a relationship, a work relationship, or work relationships that didn't go well or that were toxic. Hey sis, thank you for joining. So so I really want to talk about that, and I want to hear from you. I mean, Sunday Soup, again, the ingredients is me. I present the topic, but really the ingredients is you. Asking questions or sharing your experiences, because this is an important topic. We spend so much time with the people that we work with, our co-workers, our colleagues, our supervisors. We pretty much spend half of our waking hours, maybe more than half of our waking hours, with these people. So to me, this is just as critical as, when I start to talk about our family and love relationships, because we're spending just as much time with these folks. So when the relationships are not positive and they are filled with some kind of negativity or even toxicity, then what? What does that look like? And how is that showing up in your life as a whole? Because we know that as human beings or as spirit beings living out this human experience, that we don't necessarily always be able to contain whatever's going on in that particular arena or setting that we're in. For example, if we have an argument or a disagreement with our spouse or our mate or our children, right? And that's something, and it was really intense, and then we have to get up and go to work the next day, 9 times out of 10, we're still going to be thinking about that disagreement, right? So there's times when whatever's going on at home or in our personal life, it spills over into our work. And then most certainly, when we're at work and something is not going well, we're taking that back home, right? So this is not something, because what? We're one total being, right? We're one whole being, one whole person. We, have these emotions, and we don't necessarily always know how to compartmentalize and say, okay, that was an argument with my spouse at home, and I'm going to leave it right there, and I'm going to go to work, and everything's going to be great. That's the ideal. And yes, with prayer and meditation and all the things we know to do, yes, maybe we are able to do that. Or when we have a bad day at work and our supervisor is putting the pressure on us and we're totally stressed out and we're not going home and kicking the dog and yelling at the kids, that's great. If you are able to do that consistently, wow, just let's teach all of us how to do that, because most of us, somewhere there's an overlap, right? Where some of our things that happen at work, it spills out over home, and then at home it can spill out at work. So I'm bringing an illustration to say how critical and how vital it is for us to know how to deal with those relationships at work that may not be going well, that may be toxic. And, there's different strategies, there's different things that we can do. So I really wanted to talk a little bit about that. And I thought the best way, I wanted to tell a quick story, because our children watch everything we do, right? They watch us from when they're little all the way up to, like, my son is 20 years old now, and he's an adult. He's coming into his young adulthood. And he actually was experienced, he works a job, he works at a retail store in the mall, and he's been working there for a while now. He also does what he calls Uber Eats. So, he's working and making his money, and, I'm proud of him. He's showing responsibility. But we know as you come into young adulthood, you're learning how to socially navigate, and also navigate as far as professional relationships when you come into the workplace. These are like first jobs, and you're learning how to interact with your supervisor and your coworkers. This is all new to him. So there was a situation where he came in, he wasn't feeling well, and I remember this day well, because he was leaving out, I was like, you sure you're going to work? Because he was coughing and so forth. And he said, no, let me go in. So he went in, and he realized that he should have stayed home. But, he did everything he was supposed to do, and I think somehow, I'm like, leaving out certain parts because it was kind of a long story. But anyway, the supervisor got very irate with him and really came at him, was talking to him pretty disrespectfully. I know my son is not going to exaggerate or embellish what he was saying to him. So my son, respectfully said to him, he was like, listen, I will finish out what I was doing. He said, but I'm just asking, can I go home a little early, because I'm really not feeling well. I don't want to get the customers sick, which makes sense. And literally, he was talking about maybe an hour or two earlier, as far as his shift ending. And the supervisor kept speaking to him a certain way. And he said, listen, I'm speaking to you with respect. I need for you to lower your tone and speak to me in the same way. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm trying to, I'm saying I'm going to finish out my shift, but I'm telling you that I'm sick. You can visibly see that I'm sick. So he's explaining to him, he's letting him know exactly what he will do. And this particular supervisor, he just couldn't get it together. So then there was another supervisor, manager that came along, and he saw what was going on. He intervened. So he spoke to him. He told him what he was doing. He did let my son go home after that. And, there was a whole situation. I said to him, I said, well, what happened afterwards? Was there any ramifications? No, he said no. He ended up coming back and apologizing to my son and he said to him, because the other manager was watching everything that transpired. So it's not like, he didn't have witnesses. And I believe matter of fact, there was a customer there too. So that was the thing that my son really felt upset about. He said, you're being disrespectful to me in front of the customer. You could have pulled me to the side. Everything that he should have did, the supervisor didn't do. So he had to humble himself and have that conversation with my son. And, eventually he apologized and he saw, he said, yeah, I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. We know that's not how it always ends, though. We know most of the time people cannot see themselves and see the error of their ways in a situation, especially if they're a supervisor and they feel that you're a subordinate. Now that worked out well because it's funny, I just asked my son about it. That's what I said, let me share this story. And he said, no, he said now he's trying to be friendly because this is also is a young adult. I just want to say that he's not like an adult. He's in his 20s as well. And I said, well, how's it going? He said, oh, no, he's trying to be friendly with me now and everything. And I said, well, how are you with him? He said, no, I just treat him normal, Mom. I'm not going to be disrespectful or anything like that. But now I watch him because I really didn't like how he spoke to me in front of the customer. He tried to embarrass me. And I said, okay, I said, but you handled yourself very well and professionally. And that's always the thing. We always have to take the high road because there's always going to be those that step out of character, or maybe that is their character, and they may want to try to embarrass you or bring you down, or just not handle things the right way. So I'm saying that even our children, like how we handle certain things, especially when it comes down to our work or our business, our children are watching. And they're watching and seeing, because trust me, my son had heard all of my stories when I come home from work, and there's been situations, because I've had countless situations of dealing with toxic people and negativity, because some environments are, for some reason, they're more like a breeding house for negative interactions and negativity and toxicity. And I know when I posed a question out on my main page about workplace bullying, because I'm going to be doing a virtual panel on it next week. And there was a number of people that responded and said that they have had these experiences, and they had to go to HR and get the unions involved, and some worked out very well, and some people had to leave. There was different things that had to happen as a result of it. And because this is serious, because we know if you're working in a toxic environment, or if you're dealing with toxic people on your job, and like I said, we're spending 8+ hours with these people in these environments, so of course it's going to start to affect our health, right? So one of the things that I know that kept coming up was the fact that, okay, if I did not stand in my seat of power, if I did not know who I was, then there was no boundary set, and then those people will continue to try to treat you negatively. They'll keep trying to infringe on whether it's your privacy, speak to you disrespectfully, like I was sharing about with my son, and even worse, and there's so many different things that people, and there's stories that people have, experiences that people have had where it has went as far as tampering with their work, sending out certain emails. I mean, just this toxicity, it can go to so many different levels. Donna says, mine is passive aggressive. Oh, your supervisor, Donna? Just let me know. You talking about your supervisor, or is it your colleagues? Because, yeah, sometimes we're dealing with people that may have personality disorders. They may have some kind of mental illness, and then the field that I worked in as a clinician, I worked in psychiatric hospitals most of the time, okay? And I worked for the state. So it was no secret that a lot of times the state would hire, especially the Office of Mental Health, they would hire people that actually had, how could I say it? They were diagnosed, they had mental illness. And I'm not saying you can't function if you have a diagnosis of mental illness, because, people do all the time. But it seemed to be very prevalent, and they would be sometime in high positions, supervisors, managers, and then you have to deal with this on a regular basis. Would you say my former one did that, and then she one day popped off? Oh, she did what? What did she do, Yesenia? Just tell me more about that. A lot of undercutting. Donna, when you talk about undercutting, what do you mean by undercutting? I think I know what you mean, but I do want to touch on that, because it was always something called CYA, right? And everybody knows what CY is. A is cover your ass, right? Where when you're doing your work, it's almost like you had to double document. And this was, again, I'm talking about the healthcare field that I worked in. Double document, send emails, make sure you copy people. Why? Because you have people, again, that may not have, the best intentions for you, and they will, and maybe that's what you're talking about, Don. Okay, you are talking about that undercutting, right? They don't have the best intentions, so they'll try to do, what's the other one? Throw you under the bus. I know everybody heard that one. Throw you under the bus, call you out in a meeting. All of these things happen, right? Or they try to say that they didn't say something, or you didn't do your part on a project when you did all the work and they did nothing, and they take credit for it. Things like that. When she said they fake doing their jobs and try to divert responsibility to others. Yes. And we have supervisors that do that. That's the crazy part. These are the people that are doing our performance evaluations, right? These are the people that we have to go to ask for our time off, all these different things. And because that was my experience. I had a very toxic situation with my supervisor at my job years ago, when I was working at the Children's Center, and it was ridiculous. This woman, I was on her laser focused target bullseye. It's like I had a bullseye on my back. And even though, nobody really cared for her, there was a lot of issues with this particular woman, but for some reason, she just had a special affinity for me, and I'm saying that sarcastically. So she tried to make my life miserable. She really did. And, it got to a point, because I loved what I was doing. The job, it was what it was, but I had great relationships at this job. And I really made the decision that I'm going to just move on. And it was, thank God, something opened up. It was actually a promotional opportunity at another agency. And I moved on, because I knew if I didn't move on, then it was going to be a problem. It was going to be a problem, because I had went to the executive director, and that's another thing. Let's talk about that. The chains, the things that you go through when you're dealing with a toxic colleague or a toxic supervisor. What are the tactics people are using? What are the strategies? What have you had to do? Both from using the system and policies and procedures and protocols, as well as what are you doing for self-care? Because it has to be both working together. Yesenia said in less than a year, 20 plus people had left, threw under the bus, called because she knew Fortunately, you see this is more amongst women and women of color. Absolutely. Yes, you're absolutely right. Because, yes, my supervisor was Caucasian, and she, like I said, tried to make my life miserable. But, I had such a reputation. Thank God. And this is what I want to come back full circle to. My reputation was so solid, and she was trying to unravel it, because of her insecurities and jealousy and just ridiculousness, just to put it in there. And that's really what it boils down to. You have to have such a solid foundation that when these people are trying to come for you, that they don't have a leg to stand on. And even if they try, even if they're in a position of power over you, that your foundation is so strong that you are still able to remain in your role and have people to back you and support you. Because that's the key if you're going to stay in the place and you're dealing with this toxicity. Because I agree, it definitely is something, especially in the days and times that we're living in right now, people of color, period, are feeling more pressure on their job. I talk to people all the time. Most of you know, if you don't know, I'm an EAP specialist. I was an EAP coordinator for the state when I was working there. And I thank God for that training. I thank God for working with the unions, working with labor relations, HR, because it opened my eyes, and it, of course, has now contributed to the work that I do with my own business. And I tell you, it's valuable. You have to know policies, procedures, your HR, whatever your agency standards are, you have to know that stuff. Because if you don't, that's where, when you have these toxic people, they know how to use the system. That's one thing I can say about them. They know the system in and out. I had a Snickers moment Friday. Thankfully, I had a colleague I had signed off to. Okay. Catherine says, I say to my supervisor, my good means I will strive to do better next time. Instead of saying my bad, say my good. Okay, exactly. And see, Catherine, thank you, Donna and Catherine. When you put those positive vibes out there, okay, and I'm going to talk about that, Donna. When you put those positive vibes out there, and that's something right there. Our words are power. Heck, we know that, right? Our words are power. Tahuti, using those words of power are so vital when we're in a situation, a toxic environment, because that was part of, and let me say this, the more we shine our light, we have to understand this. All of us here are light carriers, light workers. We channel the light. We are the light. So when we show up, trust me, those demons, those people trying to do wrong, those people with all of that negativity and the black cloud hovering over them, you are blinding them. So of course that's going to bring up more at first, because one of the things that I was always doing, and people knew this about me, I was known for it, I would always send scriptures or affirmations or positivity around an email. Every morning I would send out some kind of positive message. And when I tell you, you had 90% that loved it, but then you had the ones that really just, every time I sent that positive message across the airway, it made their horns just come out more. Okay? And she was one of them. She couldn't stand my positive message. I forgot, I think she said something to me about one of them, but I'm very good at ignoring certain things, especially if I hear negativity. I just try to block it out. So taking care of yourself, and this is what Donna was saying, I was able to calm down after I ate food, but determine that they are on their own. Right. So this is why I stress, and this is why I have this community, everybody. This is why I created this community for us that are there to be the light, for us that are chosen to do this work, being helpers, being helping professionals, being healers, empaths, all the things, our gifts that God has placed in us. This is why I created this community, so that we can be here to uplift each other, strengthen each other, right? And to learn all of the tools and the resources, or just to have that accountability, to have that place that you can sound off on, like Donna was saying. Because the reality is, we step out that door every day. We step into these environments every day. You have to be armored. You have to have, I want to say, those weapons. And I'm not talking about physical weapons, knives and guns and all of that. I'm talking about our spiritual weapons, because we are dealing with spiritual warfare in these days, these precarious days we're living in. And yes, it's going to show up on our job, with all of the foolishness that we may deal with, with some of our colleagues, with our supervisors, just some of the stuff that you're sharing tonight. This is becoming more and more of an issue, right? Because I talk to people all the time. And some of the things, it gets to the point where sometimes it can get dangerous, because you have people, they come in with their stuff. They're all coming in with their stuff, and we don't know the depth of some of these people's stuff. We just know we work with them, and maybe they're having problems at home and with their family, with their kids, or whatever the case may be. Maybe they're not well. But people show up with their stuff very differently, depending on what's in their heart and what their practices are, what their spiritual practices are. Maybe they don't have any, so they're just angry and they're bitter. And you are a mirror to them. We are reflections of each other. And sometimes people don't like the reflection. And I'm telling you, this was something I struggled with for years, y'all. And I'm sure most of you could relate. Because I didn't know, I wasn't solid in who I was early in my career, right? And not really knowing all the things that I know now. And so I didn't have that power. So I would always be like, well, why are they being like this towards me? I didn't understand until I started to learn and read, and my mentors and the master teachers I sat under, and they was like, you you show them the ugliness within them. And I was like, I don't understand. What do you mean? Because we are who we are a mirror. And sometimes people don't like to see what's in the mirror. Because when you see what's in the mirror, you have to do something about it. Right? So I could not understand it. But I know now, of course. But back then I didn't know. And I used to get wounded. I used to be like, oh my goodness, I just want to be, kind and loving and supportive. And that was me. I was always doing stuff and bringing in food because we worked in an inpatient psychiatric hospital with children. And it was a very stressful. These kids was, having to get restraints and going into seclusions and get stat IMs, and they would beat up the staff. I mean, it was a crazy environment. So I was like, okay, we got to work together. We got to pull together. I just want to love on these people because so I knew my calling was kind of laying out even then. But I wasn't strong in my spiritual practices and really knowing who I was at the time. So I would get wounded. So when we're dealing with toxic people or we're in a toxic environment, in a very high stress environment, we have to be doing the things that will keep us in a solid place of foundation and in a solid place of strength and power. And these are all of the things that I speak about all the time in the group. I post about, and most of you know you're doing certain things, but we are called to a time right now to take it up even a higher level. So this is why I really wanted to get on and talk about this, because whatever you are doing right now, you have to increase it. And I'm saying this on a day, 11/11/11, because there's infinite power. This is a very powerful day. This is a very powerful time to really tap into the spiritual realm and be able to pull and draw from that power. And we have to know that. It's not a game. This is real. Because trust as the opportunity to see manifestations and to see more abundance and to see more blessings come, there's also going to be the resistance. So what you may be seeing even on your jobs right now or in your place of business or with your work relations, is there's an increase in negativity. There's an increase in toxicity. Don, I think, and Yesenia, I think you both have said that. So let me just read some of your comments. I see y'all going. She said, woo. Donna said, I'm innately helpful. Once you try to treat me poorly, then I'm wise to you. My line is for... Exactly. Implying not doing my job. Yes, Donna. Exactly. I'm working in my gift. Exactly. Yesenia said, I used to react versus now recognize it's not my response to hold their stuff. Excellent. Hey, Dina, thank you for joining. Absolutely. Exactly. So thank you. That's a great point. When we show that mirror, what's the next thing they're going to do? Project. Projection is definitely a big part of it. And that's pretty much most of the time, that's what we're doing. That's what we're dealing with. When we're dealing with other people, we're dealing with toxic people, we're dealing with them projecting the stuff they don't even want to carry. Listen to this. You come to work, you are your beautiful, light-bearing, wonderful person, all your gifts, and you're loving and you're caring and kind to people, right? And you come in, you're like sunshine, and then you got this person coming in. God knows what they're into and what's going on with them at home or whatever, and maybe they're really going through something. Who knows? But their darkness sees your light, and it's like, and then that's when they're either, I need to come and sit under them and get some of that light, or most of the time what's happening, they're like, repel, resist, but I don't like my darkness, I'm carrying it around, so I'm going to come and dump it on them. I'm going to project it. I'm going to say, you're the one that's being nasty. You're the one that's starting arguments with me. You're the one that's stealing my ideas. You're the one. And that's where the projection comes in. This is where the toxicity comes in. This is where we have to protect ourselves and make sure we're strong so that we're not doing a counter-transference thing. We're going and reacting to their projections, because it's very easy to get into that place. Especially if you work in an environment where you have to work very closely together as a team, because that's a whole nother issue. If you are a part of a team situation, there is something called contagion, right? So just like if you have the cold or flu or virus and you're hacking and you're coughing and whatever, right? The same thing happens with negative emotions and projection. So if you're on a team, and ladies, since I think it's all ladies on here, y'all know this. If you're working on a team and y'all all work closely together, don't you know that your periods can all come at the same time? Your menses can be at the same time. You'll all be on the same cycle after a while. It has happened, I know, because I've worked mostly in a team of women, and it has happened every single time where we all be on our menstrual cycle at the same time. So the same thing happens with negativity. That after a while, you'll be sitting there like, why do I feel like this? You'll start feeling all heavy, and you're sitting there. Next thing you know, even if you're a person that don't use profanity, you're around a bunch of people that's cursing all the time, there's going to be a couple of curses slipping out your mouth. It's a contagion. It happens. Because I used to see it happen with the children. Usually if one starts something, next thing you know, all three of them doing it. One want to destroy the classroom. Next thing you got two more destroying the classroom. And then everybody acting up and nobody's having a good evening. It's the same thing that happens with us at work. Yes, you seen it. Yes, we're going to get into it. Yes. The black tourmaline. You see, it says, darkness can't stand light. I tell you myself to let it roll off like tequila. I hope I said it right. Cream? Okay. Donna says, shaking my head, they convert my ideas to their own. It's amazing watching this happen. Yes. The stealing of the ideas is a big problem. Christina says, I used to work in an environment filled with darkness. Thankfully, I now work with loving and positive people whose vibration. Excellent. Woo! Good for you, Christina, because let me tell you, that alone, that's a blessing. Well, did you actually just eventually, I'm assuming you just left because that was it for you. Because sometimes that's what it needs. Sometimes it's a shake-up too, for you to move on to something better. Because we get comfortable. Even when we know a place is not healthy for us, sometimes we get comfortable in that place. Right? We get stagnant. Maybe it's a place we've been for 15, 20 years. 10 years, and we're like, oh my God, do I really want to have to start over again? Maybe it's time for you to start over again. And I'm not, recommending to anybody that you jump up and leave your job. I'm not saying that. But sometimes when these things happen, it's a shift. And we are in a time, again, 11-11-11, we are in a time of a shift. This is a master year, and I've been saying that all along. 11, those two pillars, standing side by side, that's about alignment. That's about manifestation. That's about abundance, right? So we need to adhere to that. If there's constantly something going on, then maybe it's time to make a move and to shift out of the place. Donna said, I took black crystals off in that Snickers event. Okay. Donna said, I'm stagnant. Okay. Donna, we might need to have a conversation because it might be time for you to make a move. Yes, and as empaths, it's tough. I left my last job after I started losing my hair. Oh my goodness, I had to purge. Yes. And see, all of you are speaking about things that so many of us are dealing with. So many of us. But again, my number one concern as far as this social media world is this group, this community. We gonna take care of each other. Because I could have very well did this on my main page. Like I said, we're gonna do something. I'm gonna do something on my main page on workplace bullying, which falls into the toxicity. But I specifically wanted to do this here tonight before I even did that, because I want us, again, this is a safe space for us to share and be transparent so we can come up with solutions. This is all about solutions. Transparency, remember, reveal, heal, live on purpose. So you can't, and it's good that you guys are sharing all this so you can help each other. We all are here to help each other. And as empaths, yes, we have to take it up a higher level for us to be able to protect ourselves, because our antennas are always out. We're like walking raw nerves. So, and unfortunately, and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna keep it 100. As empaths, you are definitely always gonna be a target. You are. So you have to know how to strengthen your abilities. You have to know how to tap in to that power you have within. And this is, I'm telling you, this is all from making sure your chakras, your attitudes are balanced and aligned. That's doing your work, all of your spiritual work, your prayer, your meditation, your crystals. I know I saw somebody said they had black tourmaline. Yes. Before I left my job with the state, I had crystals all around my office. It was to the point where people would come to my door, the ones that had the horns, they would not cross the threshold. And this is, I'm telling you, 150% truth. They would not cross the threshold. I was like, come on, no, I'm good. They would not come in my office. So I already knew. But I knew, and they didn't know why they couldn't come in the office. I knew why they couldn't come in the office. Because I had my black tourmaline sitting there. I had my selenite wand with me. I had all of my protection. I had my affirmations up. I would come in, I would do my little smudging real quick before anybody walk in, spray, and this was my department. So I would go around and I would bless that whole place with sage. And see, you got to know what to do in these environments. So if any of you right now are dealing with issues like this, okay, you have to use the weapons. And these are the spiritual weapons. You seen this? I got to do that around my mom. I feel her stuff. Oh, don't worry. You said we're going to get into the family stuff. I'm saving that for last. We're going to get into this family stuff. Donna said it was a nerve response. It wasn't what was said, but it was a sense of intent. Hey, business bestie. Thank you for joining. Said I'm late on the convo, but I'm practicing meditation and changing my entire environment. Beautiful. Excellent. You're not late. You're right on time. Everything is about divine timing. So anyway, I thought I was going to have one of my people come on, but I know she had something going on. So I'm going to try to have her come on another topic. But we work together. So that's why I was hoping that she can come on. We worked together when I worked for the juvenile justice facility with adjudicated females, baby jail. And when you talk about a toxic environment, and toxic work relationship, woo. So we had to band together. So I wanted her to come on and share, and she's dealing with something now. She still works for the state for another agency, and I wanted her to share, but I don't see her, and I'm not going to keep you guys long. It's already 9:45. So here it is. Let me I want to read something, and if you guys have more things you want to share, if you have questions, I am going to be doing the empath workshop. I'm going back and forth with dates because I want to do it on a Saturday. I like doing my workshops, my virtual workshops on Saturday morning so that you guys can attend and see it on and not have to do the replay, but there will be a replay to it when you register. I'm hoping to do that. My goal is a Saturday, maybe the last Saturday in the month, because I know we have Thanksgiving coming up, so I definitely won't be doing it that weekend. So I am going to post the date. And I was just trying to figure out, because I have a couple of dates I'm trying to get in before the year ends. We have a lot that we want to do, and I think I mentioned that last week. And so I'm just trying to work out my schedule with my offline as well as the online stuff. Also, we are going to be doing a fast. I know I mentioned this last week, and I saw sad faces. I saw angry faces. I saw some people like, yay, and some people no. But fasting is so vital to our, not only for our physical and detoxing our physical body, but also for our mental and our spiritual strength. And especially thinking about what we're talking about right now. When you're fasting, that was another thing I did. I fasted and prayed when I was in that environment, because I knew I needed to tap into that power, and I needed to hear clearly what to do, how to move, how to be led by the Spirit. And when you fast and you get clear, you get clarity, okay, then you are able to receive those downloads and those answers that you need. And it's no questioning it. Is that God talking to me? Yes, you're clear. So this is why we need to fast. It's the end of the year. We want to do one little short fast before Thanksgiving, because I know everybody want to eat. And then we'll do a longer fast after Thanksgiving. Okay? So we're going to do that. So I'm looking, Christina said, I love the fast. Yay, okay. So I'm looking to do just a 3-day fast. We're going to start small. 3-day fast right before Thanksgiving. And then we'll break the fast right before Thanksgiving, probably like that Tuesday or something. All right, so 9 times in, I'm looking to start next Sunday. Next Sunday. And then we go, right, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Break on Tuesday. So Wednesday you can go back to regular, because you know most people are cooking, and if anybody cooks like I do, I'm doing all my eating when I'm cooking. So even though this year I'm not cooking, but that's what I'm cooking and eating, and I usually start 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've got my turkey in the oven and do all of that stuff. So if you like me, your eating is gonna start on Wednesday. So that's why I said Tuesday we break the fast. Okay, but I'm not cooking this year. I'm going to my in-laws and they doing all the cooking. Yesenia says, I was reading that 72 days of detoxing helps cleanse and even improve. I'm sure, yes. Fasting is phenomenal. I'm going to start posting a lot about fasting to get us prepared. Okay, fasting and detoxing, because to me, they're related, but they're two different things. So I really want to explain that, and I might just do a live just talking about the fast and detox. All right, so I just wanted to let you know those two things to look out for a post on. The virtual workshop on surviving as an empath. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some really excellent tools on that. The workshop is probably going to be about 1.5 to 2 hours the most. And we're going to do a meditation just for empaths. Everything is going to be powerful. And then the fast, 2 fasts. Okay, today. Catherine, I know you always fasting, so but you can join in and encourage us. You know, do some posting as well. You go right ahead. Yeah, okay. But everybody's in different places in the group. So the ones that are accustomed to fasting all the time, you can support the ones that are kind of new to it, or that, you know, just don't know, or they're not good at sticking with it and they need some consistency. Please help. That's what we're here for, the accountability. Okay, so I'm looking for my sacred sisters, especially. This is no stranger to this. Then to help those. And Christina, I think I saw you said you also love to fast as well. So you support the ones who may struggle with it a little bit. Okay. All right. So before we go, I just want to read an excerpt from my book. If I Should Die Before I Wake. Your Journey to Awakening Your Calling. I have a whole section, actually it's 2 alerts, alert 18, alert 19, that's about business and work relationships. One is called Dealing with the Isms. That's a whole nother topic we may have to get into another time. And that's the sexism, the racism, ageism. Yes, because that's a big part, and it can lead to toxic relationships. And it often does. And then vetting your work and business relationship. And the quote that I used was by Deepak Chopra. It says, walk with those seeking truth. Run from those who think they found it. I'm going to say it again. Walk with those seeking truth. Run from those who think they found it. And those are the people that usually you're dealing with all of this projection. Okay? Because a lot of time the people that are very toxic and they have all this jealousy and they may be envious of your intelligence or your creativity or your looks or whatever. I mean, I've dealt with all of it. These are the people, they done been around and they think they know everything. You can't tell them anything, but then you come and you're like a breath of fresh air, or they see your work ethic all this time and they're envious. Okay, so they're like, wait a minute, how could they know how to do this, this, and this? Why don't I have that? Or why is that not me? Okay, so then it turns into something ugly. And so this is where I think Donna was saying the stealing of ideas and the claiming of things. It happens. It's very messy. Okay, so what you don't want to do is come down to their low, because it's low vibrational frequencies. That's what it is. These are low vibrational people because they don't know any better. They don't know their own truth, right? So what you don't want to do is go and get down there in the mud with them. You stay high. You stay high. And this the only way you can stay high and don't get down with them, because we're human, right? So we feel these things. Like I said, I used to get very wounded. You feel those things, so either you want to retaliate or you go and you start internalizing all of these negative emotions and how you're feeling, and feeling heavy and feeling sad and feeling frustrated and feeling depressed. Don't let anybody take you off your seat of power. These, again, these are people, yes, you have to spend a lot of time with them because this is your place of work until you're able to make a different choice. Like some of you have, like I did, I was able to move on. And, so I didn't have to go in and possibly choke this lady. But, because you get to that point. You can get to that point depending on who you are and what's going on with you at the time. Especially if you're a person that's normally sensitive and you're good and, friendly with everybody. People can take you there. And truthfully, they get joy out of that. They want to see you come out of character. They be like, oh, she's all zen. Oh, she's always with her crystals, or she's always praying and talk about God. Let me see. She ain't all that. Come on, y'all know how it go. Y'all know this is how people are, especially women. Women are very catty, right? So they want to test. They want to test, are you really that person? Are you really that person? Are you really so zen? Are you really so spiritual? Okay? So some of that is a test. And you definitely do not want to feed into their, this perception that they may have in their mind. That, oh, she really, let me see what she's really made of. Yeah, show them what you're made of. Show them exactly what you're made of. And again, whatever you have in your heart, in your soul, it's going to come out. So you think about it, if you are doing your meditations, you're saying your affirmations, those two words, I am, is very powerful. If you are saying your I ams all through the day, even when you at work, take 10, 15 minutes and I am powerful, I am courageous, I am strong, I stay on my seat of power. And you saying that every day. That's in your heart, and that's in your soul, and that's in your spirit, and that's going to come out. Even when people try to put the pressure on you, it will still come out. It will still show up. Okay? Hey, Dewan. Oh, we got some masculine energy. Thank you. Welcome. I'm getting ready to wrap up, though. All of that, I was proud that I answered and responded. Yes, Donna. Yes. Woo! So, let me just read. I'm going to read an excerpt, and because it actually has, some little nuggets in it. And this is actually the wake-up tip from dealing with the ism. So I'm going to read that. It says, be vigilant about your workplace relationships. Not everyone is going to be on your team, even if they claim to be. You can be the brightest person in the room, and someone will try to dim your light out of envy, jealousy, intimidation, or their ego tripping. It's always about their insecurities and feelings of worth, not yours. But they will project and make it your problem. You do not have to adopt it. Remember, God has the final say. And remember, we are representatives of the divine creator, right? They are too. They just don't know. What did he say? Forgive them, Father. They don't know. They just don't know who they are. They don't know the power that they have, right? So you pray for them as well. Let me say that. You pray for them as well. Because they don't know the error of their ways. They're lost still. They're still on that low vibrational frequency. But you stay high and you keep building up your vibrations, building up your positivity, building up your Sikkim, your life force energy. Like today, it was 11-11-11. My mentor, master teacher, she was having this 11-11-11 special Kundalini yoga, event and meditation. And she uses this beautiful big giant gong, so some sound meditation. It was awesome. And I say, because at the end of the day, I knew that's what I needed. And that's the thing. The more you do these practices, the more you know what you need. The more you draw to you what you need, the more it will show up. So even if you're dealing with situations on your job, right? And if you're doing all of your practices, the divine is always going to send those laborers across your path that's there to assist you. Even with the toxic ones, just pray for them. You know, pray for their heart, pray for their soul, okay? And eventually you're going to start to see them, you know, kind of move away from you. It will happen. Because the things, and I didn't say, my supervisor, once I left, I ended up leaving, you know, she ended up getting demoted. She was doing my job. And now I think, you know, because I was actually at my old job the other day for a conference, and I saw her, you know, like in the distance or whatever. And they said she got demoted again, and they're moving her back at a different location. And this is what happens. So we don't even have to get revenge. We don't have to, you know, and mind you, I didn't pray for her demise. I prayed for her soul and her heart. But I also know that the victory is always mine. And see, when you know that you're a child of God, and you know that you sit on your seat of power, you know who you are, whose you are, and you know your inner knowing everything is in alignment. That's why I love this 11, 11, 11. Everything is in alignment. Then you know that all you have to do is speak the words. And some of you are coming in late. I was talking about Hekawu, which is a Kemetic word. In the Sacred Woman is one of the part of the Sacred Woman gateway and teachings and stuff that we learn, and it's words of power. Okay, so when you speak those words of power every day over your life and over your situations, you'll start to see the manifestations. And this is the time. This is the time to use that. So I'm going to be talking about all of this. I'm going to be deep diving all of this on the for the empath survival workshop that I'm going to do. Even if you're not sure if you're an empath, even if you're just a sensitive person, maybe you're introverted, this workshop is going to be so helpful for you, because we're going to do a divine meditation. I'll do a little sound meditation. It's going to be beautiful. So look for that. I'm going to work on that and put that together this week so I can post it. And hi, brother. Thank you for joining. I'm actually wrapping up so you can catch it, you know, on the replay. If you are catching this on the replay, just put #replay. And yeah, so we have a lot of great things coming up. I think my phone is about to die, so let me hurry up. So like I said, the empath surviving as an empath virtual workshop, I'm going to post that info, as well as our 3-day fast we're going to do right before Thanksgiving. Okay, and let's participate. Everybody, let's participate. I'll post the information about that. I'll be putting out different information on how to support us in that fast. But this is a spiritual fast. Yes, it is going to involve giving up some food, but it is to strengthen, again, our Sikkim, our life force energy flow. It's to strengthen our intuition, our third eye. So we should all participate. Okay, all right, no problem, Christina. All right, everybody, so that's really it. I am Phoenix Love of a Healer's Haven. I thank you so much for joining. Again, if you joined late, just catch this back on the replay. If you have questions or concerns, or you want to get on the phone with me, if you want to get on a call with me, a Zoom call with me, because maybe you're going through it at your job, I'll drop my contact information in the comments. But yeah, I do free consultations. Again, if you're going through it and you just need some support and you need to just talk it out, I'm here. All right? And everyone just have a wonderful and blessed evening, and peace, love, and prosperity. And just, again, power up. Get your prayers and meditation in. It's 11, 11, 11. Tap into that power, y'all. Tap into that power. All right, everyone. Blessings to you. Peace.